Okay, there's heartbeats. Do you guys hear the heartbeat? Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, honestly, that was good. That got me. In this video, I'm going to be vibe coding with the newly released DeepSeek harness, which released just a few days ago from DeepSeek. And we're going to be testing out DeepSeek V4 Pro and DeepSeek V4 Flash, which each got moved out of preview just recently. This past week, there have been a ton of new model releases, including Grok 4.6, Grokbot, Gemini 3.7 Flash, but my family has welcomed a newborn into our family. So this past week, I've been spending time with family and taking care of what needs to be taken care of and helping out my siblings. As always, family first. So this is really the first opportunity that I've had to actually test out this new harness. With this harness, the scores that they're getting on benchmarks are actually very good. If you look at Terminal Bench 2.1, it scores an 87.9 in the latest version of DeepSeek V4 Pro versus the preview version, which scored a 72.1. But one thing to note is that there literally is already a new version of Terminal Bench out because all of these companies are benchmaxing that benchmark. So Terminal Bench 2.1 at this point is a known benchmaxed benchmark. So take with that what you will. I do have a like goal of 300 likes on this video, and BridgeMind is about to hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. So if you haven't already liked and subscribed, make sure you do so. I want to dive right in, and the first thing that we're going to test is the BridgeMind horror game. So a lot of you guys have seen this, and we're going to test it on some games, but then more importantly, we're going to test it in a real world code base. I've been working on something while I haven't been streaming that you guys are going to get to see for the first time today. But right away, one thing that I notice about DeepSeek V4 Pro in this harness is that it runs insanely fast. If you guys look down here, look at this, 70 tokens per second. Look, 70 tokens per second, time to first token average, which is how long it takes for the model to start producing tokens, is 1.7 seconds, which is insanely fast. If you look on OpenRouter right now, this is priced at 43 cents per million on the input and 87 cents per million on the output, which is insanely affordable. This is one of the more affordable Chinese open source models on the market, and I'm very impressed with it. DeepSeek V4 Flash, 6 cents per million on the input, 12 cents per million on the output. Again, very affordable. And with this model specifically, I actually have tested it on the 2 DGX Sparks that you see right there behind me. It runs blazing fast on 2 hooked up DGX Sparks, but this is a 284 billion parameter model with 13 billion active parameters, so it makes sense. But very affordable model there. But more importantly, we're most interested in quality, okay? If a model is fast, that's great. Like Grok 4.6, super fast. I'll do a review video on it. Super fast, but actually has some really good output and some really good intelligence. With DeepSeek V4 Pro, I'm a little bit skeptical of the price. The price is a good thing, but sometimes when I see those lower prices, it makes me say, you kind of get what you pay for. So we'll see what the output is on this horror game, but while this actually loads in, let's hook up another prompt. This time we're going to do the Minecraft game. So DeepSeek V4 Pro has been working on the Minecraft clone for about 5 minutes now, and then the horror game for about 12 minutes now. I also want to test its front-end capabilities with a Next.js application. So let's drop in the system prompt here and build an online therapy dashboard just to see how good the design capabilities of the model are. One thing that we're definitely going to keep an eye on as these agents are running is the price, because honestly, when it comes to DeepSeek V4 Pro and DeepSeek models as a whole, really most people that are using these models are using them because of the price. They are incredibly affordable, and while you're not going to have a model that's as good as Fable 5, you're getting a model where, if you look at this here, I've been working with each of these agents for about 5-10 minutes now, and I've only spent 11 cents. So you can see the benefits of actually using DeepSeek right here. We'll watch this throughout the video as we spin up more agents, but definitely something to keep your eye on is that this is one of the biggest benefits and strengths of DeepSeek models. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna work on is a real project with real code. This is a real code base, and we're gonna start to punch out some tickets in BridgeMind 1. So there are 3 modes up at the top that users can choose from: agent mode, code mode, or chat mode. I'm gonna work with code mode for just a second here, and we're gonna launch Claude code in code mode. I'm also gonna launch another instance, and let's just launch one, and let's just launch a thread this time. And if you guys look at this here, you're going to see this bug. Do you see how these are overlapping here? So this is a very simple bug that a good model would be able to see and discover. Do you just see how this is a terminal and this one just overlapped it? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a screenshot of this, and I'm just going to highlight the area where the bug is. Do you guys see this? So I'm going to do this, and then I'm also going to just do an arrow, and I'm just going to say overlapping. Okay, so I'm just going to say overlapping here, so that it can see what's wrong with this. And I'm actually not sure. I'm pretty sure DeepSeek V4 Flash isn't even multimodal. Let's go back over to the harness, and let's just say that's fine. And let's go here, and I'm going to drag and drop this, and it looks like it's able to take this, and we are going to switch this over to code mode, and I'm just going to at BridgeMind 1 Swift, and I'm going to say, I need you to review the screenshot and find the bug that is causing the overlapping window panes. Review this with 2 subagents, identify the bug, and update the code to implement the fix. So we're going to give it this prompt here, and we're going to submit this and see if it can actually fix that. Oh, look at this. So the current model does not support images. So that is actually not good. Because guys, like, how am I supposed to let the model know to find that and look at that? So that just sucks. Why does it even have that? Because I'm pretty sure that DeepSeek V4 Flash doesn't have it either. Yeah, the current model does not support images. I just switched to Flash. So neither of these models even support images, which is a huge issue. If your model doesn't have vision, I'm not a big fan of that. I don't like that, because how am I even supposed to, I can't do anything with that. So I guess we'll just have it, see if it can find it without the screenshot, and we'll see if it can find that, which sucks. But let's go back over here. So if you guys take a look at the horror game, one thing that I want you guys to notice is that this has been running for like 29 minutes. So if you take a look, and we were saying, oh wow, it's so fast, the speeds are insane, 72 tokens per second. But in the grand scheme of things, honestly, this is like not really using, it's not really fast. Like if I was using Opus, or if actually Opus is a different story, Opus is super slow, but if I was using like GPT 5.6, or if I was using Fable 5, they would be taking around the same amount of time to do this as well. So even though this is running at 72 tokens per second, the model is struggling to complete the task. Look at this. The current model can't view images directly, so I'll verify the visuals quantitatively with pixel statistics instead. So here you're actually seeing how the model is able to get around. Look at this. It literally installed PNG.js for pixel analysis. But man, they need to get their models multimodal, because it's 2026. I don't know why. Somebody let me know in the comments down below why they're not making their models multimodal. That's just crazy to me. So these have now been running for over an hour. If you take a look at the horror game, this has been running for 72 minutes, and the Minecraft clone has been running for 65 minutes, which when we actually tested these with Fable 5, it took Fable 5 under an hour to complete these tasks, where with DeepSeek V4 Pro, it takes way longer. Here is our first result. So this is the online therapy platform dashboard. So if you look at this, you can see that it actually did a pretty good job in terms of creating the dashboard. Here's a conversations page. You can see this. Can I even type into this? Let's just do hello. Nice. So this is pretty decent UI. It's not like crazy, but when you factor in the fact that I only spent pennies on the dollar to actually build all of this, you can say that, hey, this did a pretty good job. If you actually go to my Kimmy K3 versus Fable 5 versus GPT 5.6 and Grok 4.5 video, this result here that you're looking at, this is Grok 4.5, and you can see that Grok 4.5 did things like this, where do you see how the spacing was off in this video? And then I think if we go a little bit further, this here was, hold on, let me see if I can find GPT. Okay, no, that was still Grok 4.5. Can I find, okay, I think that this was GPT 5.6 that created this one, or this was Fable 5. And then this, no, this was GPT 5.6. And then this was Fable 5 here with the red. So honestly, I feel like DeepSeek V4 Pro, if you look at this, this is the dashboard that Fable 5 created. Look at how this chart is completely off here. Do you notice that? And then if you look at DeepSeek V4 Pro, it actually kind of nailed it, to be honest with you. This is a very good output and result for a model that literally only cost a couple pennies to create it. Now, it did take a decent bit of time to build it, even though it has faster speeds. I think that it checks its work for longer, but in terms of the actual result that we got, I'm pretty impressed by DeepSeek V4 Pro here. Now, if we go back to the real task that we gave it, let's see if it actually was able to do that correctly. So let's launch one Claude code agent, and then let's launch a thread here. And it was when we created a thread on the 4th, and look at this. So it wasn't able to actually fix this bug here. And I think that this is actually a phenomenal representation of when and where you should be using DeepSeek V4 Pro and where you shouldn't. So when I gave it that prompt, I initially had a screenshot, right? And the screenshot was referencing, hey, this right here is the problem that we're having. And hey, if your model isn't multimodal, if it's not able to take in images, then this is a task that should not be used with that model, because it's going to be left guessing, hey, go find what I'm talking about and go think about what's causing this. And for a model like DeepSeek V4 Pro that isn't the most intelligent model in the world, it's going to have a really difficult time finding a visual bug like this one if it's not able to see, right? So I think that this is a great representation of where you should not be using DeepSeek V4 Pro for UI bugs, where you're passing in a reference image. It's just not going to find this. It's just not going to find, oh, this is how it overlaps on the 4th terminal that gets launched. Whereas, hey, if I just drag that screenshot and I pass it into something like, we can go back over to BridgeSpace, for example, and hey, we can take this and we can pass this into, let's just pass this into Grok build, for example, and let's give this to Grok 4.6. And because Grok 4.6, this is probably a very, very simple UI bug. And because we have the representation of the screenshot here, okay, Grok 4.6 is probably going to be able to solve this no problem. Let's just add the directory and see if it's actually able to find this. I need you to review this screenshot and identify where the panes are actually overlapping one another, figure out what is causing this and fix it, and then restart the application so I can see the changes take effect. So with something like this, hey, this is not a very difficult issue. This is a bug where this right here is probably a 2-line change in the code. This is not going to be that difficult of a problem. But that's where it's like, hey, if you give it to a model that can't see, then it becomes a difficult problem, because then it really has to understand the code. But if you give it to a model where you're able to pass in that visual representation, it's probably going to have no problem. We'll see how Grok 4.6 does on it, but we'll come back to that in a minute. Okay, so the horror house game is finally done, and look at this, guys. It literally took 88 minutes for us to complete this game, which is a long time, but the reason that it took so long is that it actually created it with some real bugs, and it was able to loop on itself and actually fix the bugs, and now we're able to test it. So that's why it took a little bit longer. As we saw earlier, it was using PNG.js because it doesn't natively have the modality for vision, so it took a little bit longer than something like Fable 5 would, or even GPT 5.6 Soul, because it doesn't have that modality. But let's just see, at the end of the day, how good is the output? When we tested this on DeepSeek V4 Flash, it was terrible. It was not even usable. If this is actually able to create a working game, I'm going to be very impressed. Let's enter the house. Let's go. Okay, this is actually pretty solid. Okay, let's read the note. Okay, if you are reading this, you are already inside. I am sorry. The front door takes 3 keys. The master kept 1 in the kitchen, 1 in the study, 1 in the bedroom. Find them and leave before it notices you. It lives in the dark between the rooms. Do not let the light die. Okay, so here's the front door. I can't get out. I have to find 3 keys in order to get out. So okay, this is the first time that we've had very narrow passageways here. Let's go into the first room. Okay, first key. Let's grab it. Oh my gosh, whoa. Okay, that actually kind of scared me, to be honest. I was not expecting that. The monster showed up right in my face. But I think because I shined the light on it, it went away. But that got a little reaction out of me. But this design is pretty good. There's stuff like this where, hey, here, I'm kind of having a hard time. I can't access this room here. I don't know. I hope that there's not a key in there, because if there is a key in there, then I just won't be able to get in. Here's the second key. Let's grab it. Okay, we have the second key. We also can grab some batteries to keep the flashlight on, because that's how I defend myself from the monster. Let's go over here. No key in here. But for the UI design on this, I'm actually very impressed. Now, there's stuff like this where it's like, oh, what's going on here? But, okay, so you guys could see off there in the distance, there was like basically the creature that we're fighting against. And here's another battery. Here's a window. Let me know what you guys think down below. But stuff like this, so this is supposed to be a couch. It was able to create a working game though, to be honest, which a lot of these models actually aren't able to do. Okay, let's go over here. Can we find the last key? Am I just bad at the game? Okay, there's literally heartbeats. Do you guys hear the heartbeat? Oh my gosh. Okay, honestly, that was good. That got me. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, one very big problem though is I cannot find the last key, guys. Okay, this is probably one of the coolest. Okay, one of the coolest effects that we've had is that I can hear a heart beating as the monster gets closer. We've never had anything. That's not even in the system prompt. So that's just creativity from the actual model. I'm very impressed with that. Now, I think that we're starting to notice one key problem here, guys, is that I can't find the last key. I literally cannot find it. I've been in every room. This is a big problem. So literally because of the design bug here, the game, it's going to take a follow-up prompt, but I literally can't get into this room, and I think that the final key is in that room. So first shot here, very impressed with the game. I'm very impressed with the design. Now, there's some bugs, as you guys can see, but there's also a very unique creativity to this game that we have not seen from other models. The heartbeat with the monster getting closer, we've never seen that before. That's actually so unique and creative, but it's also not perfect. It had this UI bug here where the game is not playable because I can't get into that last room. So that's definitely a big issue. All right, now back over to that bug that we had DeepSeek V4 try to solve initially, and then we handed it off to Grok 4.6. Let's see if Grok 4.6 was able to fix that. We were working in Bridge Space, and that is now done. So let's go back over to BridgeMind 1 and click here and see if we can launch a thread, and we'll see if it has that overlapping issue. And like I said, guys, look at that. So Grok 4.6 was able to one-shot this, and the reason is quite simple. I don't think that this was a very complex bug in the first place, but the problem is that if the model doesn't have vision, it's going to be very hard for you to explain visual bugs like the one that we had here that ended up being a very fast, very easy fix from a model that does have vision like Grok 4.6. Finally, look at what we have here. The Minecraft clone is finally done. This one ran for 93 minutes. So let's just give it a prompt here. I now want you to start this in dev and launch it in Google Chrome. So we'll see what this actually is. It said it produced a Minecraft.html file and a test.mjs file. I think that for a lot of it, if we look at this. So what was built, you guys can look at this here, but it worked for a very long time, 93 minutes. This better be a very good Minecraft clone. Moment of truth, guys. Let's go voxelcraft. Let's click play. It's blank for a second. Let it load. Okay. So this is, let's just navigate around a little bit here. This is not the best result. This is an improvement versus other open source models that we've used. I'm trying to get one block of wood. I don't think that works. Yeah, it doesn't work. So this is an L on this one. It's pretty cool with the world, but I don't think it's actually functional. Look, I can't break this, guys. I can't even break anything. If you think about Opus 5 or other frontier models, they're literally creating Minecraft clones that are not recognizable or indistinguishable from Minecraft, basically. Whereas this, it's definitely cool. It's impressive, especially for a model where when you do look at the price, it really does make you say, didn't you pay only $1 to create this versus if you used Opus 5, you would have spent 5x, 10x the price? And it's, yeah, but it really does give you a different quality. Now, you guys can let me know what you think in the comments below, but I'm not the biggest fan of this output because it took an hour and a half, and this is not, it just took a different direction than what we probably would have rather have seen. Now, there is fall damage, the water, you can go underwater, just like basic, but I think that This gives us a good visual representation for what the model is able to produce. I will be testing DeepSeek V4 Pro and the DeepSeek harness more on live streams, but ultimately, I don't think that this is a model that I am going to be personally using in my vibe coding workflow. I think that for most people, really what you're going to be wanting to use DeepSeek V4 Pro for is for the cost. If you have a task that you don't need the perfection from a frontier model, or it's not very difficult. I actually was creating like some stream overlays using DeepSeek V4 Flash the other day, and it did a fine job creating the overlays. So the question that I could ask myself is, would I have rather spent $5 creating a stream overlay or 5 cents creating a stream overlay? And when you're literally looking at like DeepSeek V4 Flash, this is so cheap that it's a substantial difference, especially if you're using the model quite a bit. Now, one of the most important factors now that I know a lot of people are going to want to see is how much did I actually spend in this video. So let's actually pull up the usage. So for all of these tasks, throughout testing in this video, I spent $5.87 and I spent 114 million tokens. So this is why people are talking about DeepSeek V4 Pro, in my opinion. I think this is the strength, is you're just not going to find any other models that are running at this price that are this good, right? So the cost benefit analysis of this model, I would rank it a 10 out of 10. We produced a very impressive dashboard for an online therapy platform. This is better than the GPT 5.6 result that we had. Now, it did have some errors here. So if you look at this here, it's not creating perfect. There's 4 console errors. GPT 5.6 is not creating console errors. It's like speed. Running some of these tasks literally took over an hour. Like this one here, this was just literally like getting it started or something like that. But a lot of these, this one ran for an hour and a half. This one ran for an hour and a half to create the Minecraft clone in the horror game. So it's like the model, while it's fast, if you look at OpenRouter right now, technically you're getting 52 tokens per second on OpenRouter, which, yeah, that's fast. But when you're actually using it, because this model is not multimodal, literally the only modality is text, you're running into issues where the model can't see, so it has to build all of these different things so that it can actually test stuff and see things. And then also, like we had with that visual bug in BridgeMind 1, yeah, Grok 4.6 was able to solve this in one shot, whereas DeepSeek V4 Pro, it was not going to solve this. It couldn't see. So I personally am not going to be putting the BridgeMind stamp of approval on DeepSeek V4 Pro or the DeepSeek V4 Pro harness, because I'm not going to be using it in my personal workflow, because I would rather use Codex, I would rather use Claude Code. And for most vibe coders, once you have a $100 subscription or a $200 subscription, you pretty much have unlimited usage from some of these models, right? So I'm not going to be using DeepSeek V4 Pro because I would rather use a frontier model instead of having this trade-off where I don't get as good of a model. So that's just me. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you haven't already liked this video and subscribed to BridgeMind, make sure you do so. I have a like goal of 300 likes on this video. And if you haven't joined the BridgeMind Discord community, this is the largest vibe coding community on the internet. It's the home of the vibe coding movement with over 14,000 builders. But with that being said, I will see you guys in the future.